She was an actress with big potential. Then Brittany Murphy died young. Well, now a new HBO Max documentary is looking into the star's troubled final years.
It's your first look at the blockbuster documentary that reveals new chilling information about the mysterious death of actress Brittany Murphy.
Y'all won't believe what's happening with the Diddy scandal now. It just took the darkest turn imaginable. We're talking about shocking new allegations suggesting he might have actually poisoned people who knew his dirty secrets. And get this, new witnesses are coming forward, supposedly connecting both Diddy and Ashton Kutcher to poor Brittany Murphy's death. I mean, isn't it absolutely chilling that both Brittany and Diddy's ex Kim Porter died so young? And here's the creepy part. Both deaths were chalked up to pneumonia. I don't know about you, but these eerie similarities, plus their connections to Diddy, it's sending shivers down my spine and making everyone wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. Let me spill some serious tea. Over the years, Diddy's name has been whispered in connection with some pretty shocking stuff, from the tragic endings of Tupac and Biggie to allegedly wanting to harm Kid C because he was interested in Cassie. But honey, there's one rumor that stuck to Diddy like glue: his alleged involvement in Brittany Murphy's mysterious death. Now, let's break this down. At first, they said Brittany died from this perfect storm of pneumonia, anemia, and some innocent over-the-counter meds. Sounds simple enough, right? Wrong. Then everyone started buzzing about this whole black mold theory, thinking that's what took her life. But guess what? They couldn't find a single trace of mold. That's when things got really suspicious. Brittany's dad wasn't buying any of this nonsense, so he did what any concerned father would do, hired a private investigator. And oh honey, what they found was shocking: alleged proof of heavy metal poisoning. But here's where it gets absolutely bone-chilling. It's supposedly the exact same type of poisoning that's connected to Diddy's ex, Kim Porter. I mean, what are the chances? And if that wasn't disturbing enough, listen to this. Before her death, Brittany was apparently telling her friends she was terrified someone was trying to get her. She even suspected she was being slowly poisoned. But wait, it gets even more twisted. Kim Porter allegedly told her close friends the exact same thing, that she feared for her life. The coincidences are just too much to handle. Just when you think it couldn't get any more suspicious, Brittany's husband Simon died just a few months later from, you guessed it, the exact same thing: pneumonia and anemia. I mean, seriously, what are the odds? It really makes you wonder what dark secrets were being hidden behind those Hollywood gates. And honey, let me tell you about these shocking connections people are finally piecing together. Everyone's been side-eyeing the official story about Brittany Murphy's death for years, but with all this new tea spilling, it looks like they were onto something, especially when you consider this bizarre connection between Diddy and Ashton Kutcher. I mean, we all know Ashton and Diddy have been thick as thieves for years, which makes it super suspicious when you remember that Ashton used to date Brittany Murphy. And get this, after her tragic death, Ashton got weirdly quiet about the whole thing. Plus, Ashton's name keeps popping up in all these stories about Diddy's infamous freak-off parties and those disturbing allegations. Let's rewind a bit and talk about Brittany. She was absolutely everything in the early 2000s, serving iconic performances left and right, and everyone just adored her. But behind that gorgeous smile and incredible talent, her life took such a dark and tragic turn, leading to her heartbreaking death at just 32 years old. And let me tell you, this mystery still sends chills through Hollywood to this day. So picture this. It's December 20th, 2009, and the LA Fire Department gets this emergency call from Brittany's home that she shared with her husband, Simon Monjack. Despite Simon desperately trying to save her and rushing her to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, Brittany went into cardiac arrest. But darling, let me tell you, this whole story about pneumonia, anemia, and some medications, it never quite added up, and it left everyone with more questions than answers. And hold on to your seats because it gets even more suspicious. Brittany's husband Simon passes away just months later under freakishly similar circumstances. I mean, come on, but here's where it gets really shady. Simon actually tried to block an autopsy after Brittany's death. Can you believe the nerve? Thank goodness he couldn't legally stop it, so the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office went ahead anyway. A couple of months go by, and the coroner drops this report calling her death accidental, blaming it on pneumonia with anemia and multiple substance intoxication. But here's the tea. According to ABC News, the coroner's spokesperson, Craig Harvey, was being super sketchy about what substances were involved. Meanwhile, Simon's over here telling People magazine she was just taking herbal remedies that wouldn't speed up her heart. Nothing dangerous, just some period meds and cough syrup, that's it? I mean, seriously? And get this. Brittany's mom Sharon backed up Simon's story, swearing Brittany didn't touch illegal substances or even drink alcohol. At first, she thought it might have been some undiagnosed heart condition, but honey, that's when things take an absolutely terrifying turn. Apparently, Brittany had been feeling sick for weeks, and this is the scary part, she told people she thought someone was poisoning her. Sharon even admitted later that Brittany was paranoid someone was trying to harm her. I mean, the poor thing had CCTV cameras and fingerprint locks all over her house. She was literally living in fear. Then this whole bizarre mold story starts circulating about their Hollywood Hills home. Both Simon and Sharon later suggested toxic mold might have killed Brittany. But was this just a convenient smokescreen for something much more sinister? Because here's the thing that makes absolutely no sense. When investigators wanted to do mold testing after Brittany's death, both Simon and Sharon shut it down. I mean, if you truly believed mold killed your daughter or wife, wouldn't you want that investigated? It just doesn't add up. And here's another bombshell. Pathologist Dr. Richard Shepard completely dismissed the mold theory, saying point blank that the autopsy showed no fungi in her bloodstream or lungs, so that excuse went right out the window. But let's talk about what's really chilling, Brittany's fear of being poisoned. In those final months, her behavior changed dramatically. The poor thing became so paranoid, she wouldn't even accept food or drinks from certain people because she was convinced someone wanted to harm her. According to some inside sources, she confided in her closest friends that she believed powerful Hollywood figures were watching her with sinister intentions. And then there's her husband, Simon Monjack. Talk about red flags everywhere. Not only was he significantly older than Brittany, but they met when she was just 17. Simon had this really sketchy reputation, with all these fraud allegations swirling around him, and many of Brittany's friends were convinced he was taking advantage of her. Their whole relationship was just covered in red flags, and some people think Simon might know more about Brittany's tragic death than he's letting on.
Now the HBO documentary, What Happened, Brittany Murphy, alleges Monjack was a con artist and contributed to her death. Brittany's friend, actress Kathy Najimy, appears in the documentary.
During a little dip she was having, he came along. And I think that's where her judgment was muddled and she became prey. We all were scared and freaked out. Like, who was this guy?
And there's this shocking claim.
Simon said that he dated Elle Macpherson and Madonna. He said that he had been dying from terminal brain cancer and that he had bought an experimental treatment derived from the fins of sharks. Every single word out of his mouth was all.
Now, grab your tea, because this is where everything gets absolutely bone-chilling. Just 5 months after losing Brittany, Simon Monjack dies in exactly the same way. Pneumonia and anemia. I mean, what are the chances? And once that mold theory got debunked, people started looking at something much darker. Years later,